One. What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Here the Spear, presented to you by NoleGameDay.com. We are here on a fantastic, beautiful Tallahassee Thursday evening. We just wrapped up a intense practice. Mike Norvell liked the response from Tuesdays, little iffy practice to Thursdays. Happy with what he saw today out on the field. We've got some pro day stuff to talk about, recruiting, big-time recruiting weekend coming up soon. We've got also a recap of today's practice, maybe a surprise this upcoming weekend in recruiting. We'll dive into that. And then we got a lot of basketball content to talk about this evening also. So thank God we have Austin Veazey in here to give us the latest. He and Jake have been killing it. So with me this evening, we've got Nate Greer, lead recruiting insider at the top with me. D-Lou, bottom right, lead writer and editor, and then Austin Veazey, lead basketball writer. Gentlemen, how are we feeling? Busy week, but it means we got some stuff to talk about.
I'm feeling good. Check out this new room.
Yeah,
There's stuff on the walls.
Look at you. You're looking good.
There's not a permanent haze in the background now.
Well,
it still looks a little. Look at this light glare.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that. I did say I would come over there and help him with some of the lighting.
I feel like I'm about to get teleported up. Like
Cartman.
Yeah.
A full-on Cartman from South Park's first season. You know, I can see it.
That was the first episode.
I know.
Yeah. No, but we are here on a really good week. This has been busy. As you kind of know, too, we launched Bucks Game Day a couple weeks ago, so a lot of Arian stuff, and him deciding to retire just put us into a whirlwind yesterday, and we had Florida State's practice today, so it's been wild. And Veazey's got a lot of basketball stuff, so we'd probably need to jump into things right away. Everybody's in the comments wanting us to get started. So as always, listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a review if you want to. If you don't want to, don't care, but definitely hit subscribe so then you get notified every time we release a new episode. We got a lot to talk about this evening, so let's jump right into it. Number one, we'll start off with Wren deciding to enter the transfer portal. Florida State running back, speedy guy. Didn't get to see a whole lot of Wren, was dealing with injuries a lot. I know you were close with Wren during his recruitment, Nate. And I just thought probably lead it off to you first. What are your thoughts on Wren deciding to enter the transfer portal? I think, his message came across pretty clearly that he just was looking for more opportunity, maybe more playing time. And that's understandable because if you're looking at that running back room right now, it's pretty stacked. So what are your thoughts, Nate, on Wren?
It is what it boils down to is the opportunity to play more on offense. He's kind of buried on the depth chart. And some of that is just he hasn't been able to stay healthy, battling some injuries in the lower body. But, it's to be kind of expected. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit here before spring started that he was someone to watch to see what happens if, he's going to gain some traction or possibly be a guy who looks to leave. So, the move doesn't surprise me. It's nothing more than wanting to play more. The guy does like Tallahassee. He likes the coaching staff. He really enjoys being in Tallahassee, but, he's two years into his college career and wants to play more. And that's led him to go ahead and enter the portal. So, for not to put too much out there, but, not really happy with just the special teams focus, wanting more chances on offense. He did look good so far this spring from what, I saw. And, Logan and Dustin have been out there more than I have, but, he's looked pretty decent. And
his best practice on Thursday.
Yep. He's finally healthy, and that's why.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a nagging, groin injuries and hamstring injuries and stuff like that, those take a while to heal. And speed being a part of his game, he hasn't been the player that everyone thought he was going to be, and that's because of injury. But he's healthy now. I wish him all the best because, he's a really good kid. It's a business decision for him in order to get a chance to play more, and that's what it comes down to. And, I do think that speaks on the ability of CJ Campbell. I know he's a walk-on, but very much taking the Treshaun Ward route. The kid's he's no slouch. So, it looks like FSU really has a solid 4 or 5 man rotation in that running back room. So, good luck to Corey, and I hope to stay in touch with him.
Yeah, like you said, I don't really think it comes as much of a surprise, just because of where he already was in the rotation with Treshaun Ward, Lawrence Toafili, DJ Williams, guys that had kind of passed him up last year, and then you had Trey Benson and Rodney Hill come in, and they've already been pretty impressive, showed some flashes in spring camp. And you mentioned CJ Campbell as well, who has continued to impress. He was a guy we noted in the fall last year who was just consistently impressing in practice for Florida State, and now he might get a bigger opportunity. And Wren, coming into spring, I thought he looked pretty good. I was surprised to see him in person. His frame was much more developed than I thought, and I think that was the benefit of getting to go through the tour of duty, coming back from those injuries. But like you said, Nate, it comes down to opportunity. He never got to play an offensive snap at Florida State, if I'm correct. He only contributed on special teams and just didn't get to make much of an impact overall. And wish him all the best and hope he finds success somewhere.
Yep, absolutely. And that running back room, it was pretty clear today how much depth they have there, because you got to see some flashes of DJ Williams too, breaking open some plays. We'll talk about it later on whenever we get to the practice report. But you can see, though, this running back room is pretty stacked. And maybe weren't thinking about this before going in the spring, but if you look at it now with the emergence of CJ Campbell, you still have DJ Williams healthy. Now you have Rodney Hill too. That running back room is big.
I do think that, when you look at what Corey Wren brought to the table is, someone that you can get out in space, get him out in the passing game. And that's something that Rodney Hill has looked really impressive so far, maybe more so versus being a running back, not your straight up running back. And that's not saying that he hasn't had his moments of looking really good as a ball carrier, but Rodney Hill looks like, one of those athletes that you can get out in space and create mismatches, kind of like an Antonio Gibson that Norvell had at Memphis. So, I think those kind of things, it led to, Corey's decision. So, but it also bodes well for FSU that they have more than a handful of guys that look like they can contribute to the backfield.
Yep. One thing about Norvell, he knows how to develop running backs, and going back to CJ Campbell, we'll talk about him a lot tonight, because just flashes from practice and then a really good spring scrimmage. But him coming up, now that opens up a scholarship and should open up an opportunity for him on earning one and getting in there. And he has his biggest thing. He talked to us on Tuesday and said the reason he's getting more opportunities is because of his consistency, and that works really well for Mike Norvell. We saw consistency with Malik McLean. We saw consistency with Treshaun Ward this last spring, and look what happened. They ended up being starters in majority of the games. And, you still had Deshaun Corbin doing his thing, but it was easy to tell that Treshaun Ward might have been the most talented one in that running back overall. And so look at CJ Campbell. We'll talk about him some more this evening. So best of luck to Corey Wren. I don't think a major hit to Florida State here, but a good kid, someone that represented Florida State very well, and wishing him the best of luck wherever he goes next.
And one more thing before we move on, it wouldn't surprise me to see him, maybe turn his focus to track.
Yeah, and that's what, wasn't there some smoke about him maybe going fully into track before the season?
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't surprise me, but the kid loves football. He considers himself a football player first, so I think we'll give it one more chance, but I wouldn't be surprised to ultimately see him go the track route.
Yeah, very fast, very speedy, and like I said last Thursday, had a touchdown score and had a really break off run off the side by the sideline there, and so I thought he had one of his best practices of the spring on Thursday. So it's just crazy how some things can change just like that. But like I said, wishing him the best of luck. Let's talk spring scrimmage here, because I know there's a lot of comments and there's been a lot of DMs and Discord messages if we're going to talk some spring scrimmage, and we most certainly will. We had a few sources in attendance for this, so we have a little bit of nuggets to share. Let's start off with the quarterback position group. And, I was told there was some ups and downs behind Jordan Travis with Rodemaker and AJ Duffy. I think there was one clip shared I believe by Micah Pittman's girlfriend on YouTube that was all over Twitter of a really nice rollout throw made by Duffy. But ups and downs for both guys behind Jordan Travis. On Jordan Travis's side, I heard some really, really good things about the deep ball for him, which is something we saw on Thursday right in front of my own eyes just blow up. I know we talked about it on the podcast last week, but he was connecting nonstop, had a beautiful 90-yard drive, 3 plays on Thursday, and then goes into the spring scrimmage. And from what I was told, had some really good deep balls on the money, but there were some drops that, you don't like hearing that ever. But Jordan Travis, at least being able to be on the rhythm there as his wide receivers going deep is something that he has to work on and get better at, because there was opportunities last year where, those are explosive plays that Florida State has to get down on the field with. And that's something Jordan Travis is developing and getting better at. You see Tony Tokarz, Florida State's quarterbacks coach, really hands-on with all of these quarterbacks and still really heavily on Jordan Travis. And so I think that's a good sign, at least for the deep ball situation here, and him getting better there is something that he's working on. And, his reads too, I saw at least on last Thursday, making a third read to a wide receiver. And, that's something that, a year ago, you really want to see Jordan Travis doing. He also did it in practice today in an end zone throw, finding Malik McLean. So those two connecting very well. But yeah, quarterback room, some ups and downs. Rodemaker, still some developing work to do there. But Jordan Travis, from what the source told me, definitely, just levels and levels ahead. And it was kind of like how it was last spring, with Mackenzie Milton there. You had Rodemaker, you had Purdy, but Jordan Travis being just way ahead of these guys. And, it's going to continue a conversation after spring of who they're going to get at QB2, because I still think it's going to have to be a transfer thing. Delu, I think that you got to find some help there. And I don't know if Florida State has a really good backup to Jordan Travis right now. And that's going to be a conversation we'll talk about all offseason.
But who's going to want to transfer and be a quarterback? No one's entering the transfer portal and saying
who wants to transfer and be a quarterback, or you mean a backup
or a backup. I'm sorry. Who wants to transfer and be a backup quarterback? Because these guys in the transfer portal and they're looking for opportunities. They're not saying, "Hey, let me go transfer to Florida State. They didn't even make a bowl game last year, and I'm going to be the backup behind Jordan Travis." That's not a knock on Jordan Travis at all, but I just don't. In this day and age, not many people are transferring to sit. They want to play immediately. Mm-hmm. Same with Milton last year. If he would have known that Jordan was going to end up beating him out, I don't think he would have ended up at Florida State.
I think you'd be surprised. It wouldn't be a big time kid that would come, but I'm starting to be in agreement with Logan. I do think that Duffy would have flashes. That throw that made its way to social media that's an NFL throw. Mm-hmm. But he also had moments in the scrimmage where, he's, from what I understand, like Logan said, there was a really bad throw at the end that was just no one in sight, and that was an interception. He's going to be a freshman. When you have Tate Rodemaker, who's your next most experienced guy who has had his struggles, I do think that you can't chance going into next season with Travis's injury history. I think you got to try to find someone that can at least be a game manager for a game or two if something happens. I just, I speak for myself. I don't trust, what they have right now, and I think Duffy is going to be a guy for them. I just don't think that he's going to not play like a freshman, and that's to be expected. That's anywhere else in the country.
Yep. Yeah. True freshman coming in, understanding the system, and that's going to continue to develop. And, you see him scrambling more in practices, and that's just how it goes.
And he was studying the system before he came, so he's understanding the system. It's just, it's a whole different ballgame from high school to, college, and the speed of the game and everything. It's going to take time to adjust. So, FSU has their number one guy, and I think that, they're going to have to test the waters to see what else is out there.
Yeah.
It's just a tough situation to
it's tough to sell. Hey,
because at the same time, you don't want to you don't
coming
want to
in
push off
sick.
Duffy or Rodemaker at the same time by bringing in someone else that, has eligibility then farther beyond 2022. There's a lot of moving factors that you have to think about when you're bringing in another quarterback, because Jordan Travis probably going to be back for another year. Duffy's obviously, the plan is he going to be here for the next 3 to 4 years. Who knows about Rodemaker? So you bring another QB in the room to mix it up.
Even if it's a 1-year guy, got to understand that, what's best for the team. There's got to be some understanding. I don't think you bring in a guy with 3 years experience or 3 years eligibility left. I think you bring in a guy who has maybe lower level experience that can help you at some point. It's tough. Like you said, Dustin, it's tough.
Plus the scholarship numbers. I mean, Florida State, they're still kind of towing right around that 85 limit. And, obviously it looks like they're still scouring the transfer portal a little bit at options to see who pops up after the spring. Maybe they look to bring in another offensive lineman or look for some more help at edge or linebacker, even at defensive back now with Brownlee heading out. So there's still a lot that could happen. And, you guys remember last year, Florida State was still adding transfers after the spring into the summer. So I don't think it's over yet.
They added Gibbons in mid or late March?
Yeah, and they added Marcus Cushney 2 weeks before fall camp began. So
where's Hornibrook when you need him, right? Golly, you just kill to get some Hornibrook.
Man.
In his left arm. What a good time that was. What a fascinating quarterback. Or that should just be a whole conversation in itself.
I don't understand. That's props to Wisconsin staff to get 26 wins out of 26 wins out of him. And
O-line and running backs.
Didn't he win the conference championship?
Probably.
Props to Jonathan Taylor for carrying Hornibrook.
I'll find it for you.
Yeah, exactly. One guy that has not taken, doesn't need a lot of time to get used to practices, and that's CJ Campbell. We're seeing a lot of signs of him, how it was with Treshaun Ward this last season, the king of spring, and CJ Campbell blowing up on Florida State's first scrimmage on Saturday, and hearing a lot of good things. One thing I was told, a 60-yard breakout run. I believe had 2 touchdowns too, but just multiple explosive plays from CJ Campbell. And when we get to practice, I'll talk some more about him too, but a really, really impressive spring scrimmage. And I'm wondering, to start connecting the dots here with Corey Wren transferring and such, and you see CJ Campbell blowing up. He's getting a lot more burn. He's getting a lot more playing time, maybe getting up there with the 2s, maybe getting even chances and opportunities with the 1s here and there, just to see how he feels and how natural he is and comfortable. But CJ Campbell really emerging. Like you said, Nate, this is no sissy. This is a big guy. Between him and Benson, he's no sissy. This between him and Benson, I think, are your 2 biggest backs out of the room. I don't really have to think about it. Those are your 2 biggest backs, but very impressive.
Campbell's not the tallest, but he's very well built. He's built like a running back should be. But again, I know FSU fans get all bent out of shape about a walk-on, but kid's a good running back, man. It's just a simple statement. The kid's pretty good. So
yeah, no, he's
dating back to the fall, he's had some flashes in practices. Logan, I know he's a guy that you brought up before. I don't know why you're doing that.
Well, no. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the comment from Timmy, and I was the same one that talked about Treshaun Ward. I must have overhyped Treshaun Ward last spring. Did I overhype Treshaun Ward too much?
Well, I told you about Treshaun Ward, and you.
I was there at the scrimmages.
No, but you jumped on it after you saw him.
Well, yeah, no, we all talked about it. Said, we hear the practice, the scoop that we'd get from some of the sources saying that Treshaun Ward might be the best back in this room, and he's a walk on. And they were like, okay, well, we'll see. I'll see with my own eyes.
Like that
the
year
spring
before,
scrimmages
when he was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
When he came in as a freshman walk on, he was like, people are like, oh damn, this guy's gonna contribute at some point for FSU.
Mm-hmm.
And Campbell's taking the same route, so not really overhyping the kid. Yep. It's just talking about what realistically is going on. FSU found another, diamond.
Yeah, and like I was saying, he's shown flashes dating back to last fall, and that's just kind of continued into now. Getting more experience in the system, getting more comfortable in the offense, and now you're kind of starting to see those progressions. Like you said, Logan, he had a pretty good first spring scrimmage, and hopefully that can just continue. So we've got the King of Spring, and now we have the Prince.
Oh my God! You've been waiting to say that. You know that. You've been waiting for that one. But yeah, great, good, solid first true spring scrimmage. I think for Campbell getting a lot more opportunities at least. And then I want to talk about a defensive end, Nate, who you predicted. You had some good predictions on Pat Payton going into this spring. I think you had him in one of your pieces, Nate. But Pat Payton on Saturday, from what I was told, was a menace to Florida State's offensive line, and you're starting to see a trend with the young defensive end, number 56. And I was getting a text during the scrimmage asking, who's 56? I was like, oh, that's Pat Payton. I said, oh, well, by the way, he's just grabbing sacks like it's easy. And, we kind of see little clips here and there. Then I know Florida State's sharing pictures of him celebrating with Sam McCall. So you can see the things, connect the dots. He probably had a really good scrimmage. And Pat Payton also, we'll talk about on practice today, but had a sack that caused an interception from Sam McCall today too. But talk about your guy Pat Payton, who's put on some size.
Yeah, as I said, before in our little spring preview, I think he's probably the most gifted natural pass rusher that is on the roster, and that was always the case for him coming in, and it was going to be how his body developed, and it's developed pretty well. So I think he's going to be a guy that can get 5 to 8 sacks this year, and really help this unit. He looks really good, man. Simple fact, the kid's talented, and he's maturing like you want. A freshman come in, take time to develop his body. Work on his craft, which he did, and going into year 2, make a jump, and he has. I think he's made a leap. So fully expect him to be in the 2 deep.
Yeah, you pretty much said it. I mean, he's made tremendous strides with his body over the past year. Shed some bad weight, put on some muscle. I mean, he's just another product of Josh Storms, honestly. And now you're starting to see that work in the weight room translate onto the field. He's primed to make an impact for Florida State this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he is, setting the edge, and how he is in the run game. But when it comes to the pass rush, he's going to cause some. He's going to wreak havoc.
Another name that I want to mention before we move on to Thursday's practice.
You want to mention your boy?
Staying on the scrimmage here. Well, there's which one? Which one you got to start with? Well, I mean,
you talk about Verse.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about Jared Verse. I kind of want to keep it mainly to Thursday's practice because this was his best practice yet and had a lot more opportunities. But I want to mention one more name, and that's Micah Pittman. We talked very highly of him on Thursday after going off. I mean, being the best player on the field this last Thursday. And then once again, from what I was told, had some really good plays, was limited, not too many plays on Saturday. But whenever he was in there, he was making some grabs, scored a touchdown or close to a touchdown. I think it was like almost 40-yard gain, almost into the end zone. But it seems like, don't know who the quarterback it was throwing to him, but you're seeing a lot of connection between he and Jordan Travis, at least in practices. Don't know if that necessarily was the throw from Travis to Pittman in that scrimmage, but you've seen Micah Pittman really get into a groove here. And we already know what you're getting from Johnny Wilson, who we'll talk about here in a minute. But a lot of people thought maybe he was just coming in. This is a special teams guy. Great. He's going to play really well there and do his thing. But he might have heard Twitter and decided to just kind of get things going here. And he's been balling for Florida State, but I heard really good things about him during Florida State's first scrimmage. And, the wide receiver room wasn't so maybe great, but a guy on Saturday was Micah Pittman in that group that impressed.
Yeah, and maybe he started a little bit slow, but now he's getting into a groove. And as you said, last 3 or 4 practices, he really has started to come into his own and been one of Florida State's best receivers out there, as well as, I think he's going to make a tremendous impact in the special teams game because, you look back last year, Florida State couldn't fair catch a punt to save their lives. I mean, they were letting the ball bounce and losing 15, 20 yards of field possession. I don't know, basically like every punt. It was pretty bad out there. And what I've seen from Pittman in practice is he comes up to catch these punts. He's never letting anything bounce. And I think that's going to be a big help for Florida State's offense, getting better starting field position on some of these drives. So we'll see how that plays out. But this was always a guy that we thought was going to make a pretty big impact for Florida State. He's been beat up a little bit over the past couple of years. Didn't get the biggest opportunity at Oregon in the fall, just with how they're more balanced towards the run. So now that he's at Florida State, like you said, developing connection with Jordan Travis, their lockers are right next to each other, if I imagine. So they've been spending a lot of time together, getting to know one another. And he's going to be a weapon for Travis in the fall.
Another guy that's going to be a big-time weapon is going to be Florida State wide receiver Johnny Wilson. We'll jump into some practice notes from today. A lot better practice overall. Mike Norvell, after the session, said he liked how intense it was. He said this was one of the most intense practices they've had, and I will say it was chippy. It was most certainly chippy. The guys in the group chat do know that. It was very intense. And, Mike Norvell talked about it after practice. He said there's definitely a lot of teaching lessons and, things that they'll talk about, just things that, I think he liked the practice. It was a football practice. This was actually, this felt like a true football practice and guys chirping with one another. You had offensive linemen and defensive linemen going at it. And, they had some extra stuff going on. And that's just how it should be. You're right in the thick of spring right now, guys fighting for that depth chart. And one of those guys fighting for a depth chart is Jared Verse. I'll get to him in a second. Let's watch right here. We've got, I believe this might be the throw from Tate Rodemaker. Yep, this is from Tate Rodemaker over to Johnny Wilson. Although wide open there, but he's been, we talked about it. We were like, oh, well, this is definitely a red zone threat, and here he is. But, I mean, he's been making these grabs all over the field, and the quarterbacks just love throwing to him because of how lengthy he is and his ability to high point these balls. But look who's I just now noticed it. Look who's after the quarterback here. Is that PP?
Mm-hmm.
That sure is.
Can't tell through all the pixels.
I know. Thanks, Twitter. Twitter. I think this is a tip ball I think.
Before we get into the practice, I do like the fact that they bounced back maybe off of their worst practice of the spring.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
You didn't see it carry over. If anything, the intensity and the chippiness maybe was a little bit of frustration for how they practiced yesterday, and they probably got dug into a little bit from the coaching staff after, and that's good. But they didn't have a back-to-back poor practice, so really good to hear that they came back and had a much better day.
Yep. A lot better. But yeah, Johnny Wilson continues to just make these plays all throughout spring so far. And he's been kind of a shocker. Maybe he has been a shocker to, I think, a lot of Florida State fans with how quickly he's gotten adjusted to Florida State's and Mike Norvell's offense and clicked with the quarterbacks. And like I said, the quarterbacks love him because of his length. I mean, you can throw it. Mm-hmm. You have a lot more range to throw with Johnny Wilson per se and Ontario Wilson and Keyshawn Held. These wide receivers, that's just how it goes in football. I'm going to see if I can find another video here, but I do have one on Jordan Travis having a pretty impressive rollout and finding Malik McLean really late here, but it's actually throws across his body back into the end zone and is able to find probably, I would say, his favorite wide receiver right now. Keeping the play alive, going out. You see, this looks like Lundy right here picking up. I want to say that Ben.
If you can figure that out, props to you, bro.
But yeah,
what I'm
Jordan
watching.
Travis and Malik McLean really starting to not starting, but they've been a big time tandem this spring, and I think that might be Jordan Travis's favorite wide receiver right now. I want to talk Jared Verse because I was high on Treshaun Ward this last spring, and I said that Jared Verse this spring would be a solidified starter heading into 2022. Nobody else on here agreed with me. Nobody else here agreed with me on that.
No depth chart talk, boy.
Yeah, I can't talk depth chart. No, we're not talking depth chart at all. We're definitely not talking depth chart. But he had
PG.
Yep. We're keeping it PG here. But Jared Verse getting a lot of opportunities on Florida State's defense. Definitely today with Fuller giving him a chance to get in the groove. And I don't know what it is, but I think Florida State's offensive line are not going to start. They're just not going to like Jared Verse. He dominated in every aspect of the practice today. If it was one-on-one battles, doing drills earlier in the practice, and then definitely when doing 11-on-11 here, absolutely bull rushing a few linemen. I'm not going to name names here, but bull rushing a few guys and making things look easy. And things got a little chippy, and that's just how football goes. And it's kind of, you're starting to see, and Jared Verse talked about it on Thursday, saying, a reporter asked, what are you looking forward to in this spring scrimmage? What about it entices you? And he said, depth chart. That's all he's caring about here. And today it was just absolute domination from him. Just getting to the quarterback, stopping the run game. He moved to the inside a few times too, creating some pressures to the quarterback. It was a very impressive day for Jared Verse, who I think is going to be solidifying himself as a starter on Florida State's defensive end.
I'm feeling pretty good about FSU's situation at defensive end right now. Where we sit at spring with Verse and Briggs, McClendon, Fuller. I'm feeling pretty good there. Then you have Byron Turner, who's flashed a couple times, so I'm feeling pretty good about what 2 weeks in the spring. How many practices are we at now? 8.
Today was day 9, I think.
So 8. It was actually 8.
Past the halfway mark. That's one thing that we needed to see in the spring is what were they going to do at defensive end, and it looks like they have some people there that are going to really play a big role. So I'm feeling pretty good about that whole defensive line as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to replace those losses of Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas. It's just not going to happen. But can you have enough guys step in to build a viable rotation? And I think you do. Like you said, Nate, there's really 4, 5, 6 guys. I don't know if you said Pat Payton a second ago, but really 5 or 6 guys that can all get in there, contribute in a variety of ways. You've got guys that can help more against the run. You've got guys that you can put in on passing downs. It's going to be an interesting rotation for the coaches to figure out, and they've got a lot more time to do that before August, thankfully. But Verse, it seems like he's trending up, and that was one thing that we all were hoping, but we wanted to kind of limit a little bit of that hype. People are coming in saying he's going to replace Jermaine Johnson next year. And I think he could replace Jermaine Johnson, over his career, but I don't know if he replaces all of that production right here in 2022. I think you're looking at 23, 24, he's going to be a monster.
That's the perk about him. You got this time. I think a lot of people thinking, this is like a Jermaine Johnson 1-year dealio, but you got Verse for a little while. I'm not going to say it's going to be a long while, but it's going to be a little while. It's going to be longer than
go early.
Yeah, you'll have him a little bit longer than Jermaine, which will be very nice. But from what we're seeing right
minimum,
now,
so
yeah,
you got him at least for 2 years. So
yeah, he's been very impressive. Today's practice was kind of like his hey, I'm here and I'm here to stay. So a good practice there. Norvell liked what he saw from Verse. And then we'll end off here for Thursday's practice talking about Florida State's top-rated recruit in the class, true freshman Sam McCall. coming away with 2 interceptions on the day, had a really impressive PBU down the sideline. The thing about McCall, guys, while watching him in practice, getting the binoculars on him, because for some reason FSU likes to do their one-on-one battles all the way across to the other practice field, which makes it a little hard from Dick Hauser to see him. But that's why binoculars come in handy, and being able to watch number 11 and his coverage and how tight he is with being able to be hip to hip with most of these wide receivers is one thing about him that is really, really impressive. There's not a lot of blown routes that he's getting broken on, guys. I mean, McCall today, and like I said, had the two interceptions. Pat Payne had the pressure on the quarterback and kind of had an easy type pick there. Then the end zone interception was really impressive, staying true to his guy in the end zone because it was a developing play. Made sure to stay on his assignment and came in with the interception and ruined a really nice drive from Tate Rodemaker, who was having a really nice drive down the field. But Sam McCall ruins the party, and the entire defense, I mean, I'm talking the entire defense, came right over because I was cornered in the end zone there and came celebrating with him. Mike Norvell comes over there and says a few nice things to him. Really excited for his young defensive back. But hello, Sam McCall. I know there was some just jibber jabber, just regular FSU Twitter stuff this morning talking about McCall and such, but maybe he saw Twitter. Maybe it was from his tweet giving some props to Jackson State. I don't know if he was trolling or not, but he decided, I think he was trolling too, but he decides to go off and come away with 2 interceptions today. And I just knew it slowly but surely he was going to come away with some, because like I said, his cover ability has been really impressive. And this is a true freshman too. And he's getting opportunities against really good competition too. So yeah, Sam McCall, hello.
And I can't tell you how much, it makes me happy to hear that he's having these kind of battles and coverage and keeping up with guys getting interceptions and sticking with these receivers. Because that was just one thing during his senior season that was a little worrisome. There were some coverage miscues. There were some times he got blown by. But the kid has all of the athletic tools and potential in the world. And when he puts it together, you're seeing it right out on the practice field. He's a star in the making. So, I don't know. I don't think he becomes a star that quickly this year, but I do think he's become a viable piece in Florida State's rotation, continue to grow as the year goes on, and potentially earn a starting spot heading into 2023. And he can flex between that cornerback position and safety. So I think we'll see him be moved around in the defensive backfield to figure out where he fits in the best.
He could turn there. So I do think he'll help this team maybe a little bit more than you think, Dustin. But I also think that both freshmen have something to say in terms of that depth chart. So, but the thing about McCall, since he entered his sophomore year, he was always a supreme plus athlete, and growing as a football player, I think more than anything he probably was a little bit bored on the high school level, and now he's got to really focus and play. So the kid's a true 5-star for a reason, man. Has the size that you like at corner, like Logan said, he's got the speed. You may beat him off the line, but he's got great recovery speed. He's got really good technique. So, what helps too is that he's played receiver for 3 years. So, he's he knows the nuances of what a receiver is doing. So he can kind of stay ahead and run that route before them and get to the point before them. So, that always helps. That's one reason why I like, running backers that play running back, because they know the nuances of the game. This guy's played receiver very well. That's why there's some discussion if FSU looks at him on offense. So you got a guy who's gonna probably be I'd be surprised if FSU has him for 4 years.
Yeah, McCall paired with Thomas.
Everything staying health-wise and everything staying, normal. He's probably a 3-year player for FSU.
Yeah, McCall paired with Thomas is just a hell of a freshman class. I mean, they both come into spring practice and not really blinked an eye. They haven't missed a beat. jumped right in there, and they're competing with the talent every day, and just very impressed by their approach and their mindset so far. You know, sometimes freshmen come in a little wide-eyed, takes them a little bit to adjust. Not them. I mean, they've hit the ground running, and they look like they've already been practicing for a year.
Yep. That's been a very nice thing to see for all the newcomers, including transfers too. Guys clicking in the spring. That's something that Norvell is kind of a little surprised by, that these guys are acclimating this fast into spring. So really good sign there. Let's talk about a commitment that Florida State had, and this is definitely Dustin and Nate's realm here, but kind of maybe a shocker, maybe not too much here. This was Florida State. Florida State gave the first offer to Luke here, but 2024 quarterback Luke Kromhoek. I don't know.
Kromhoek.
Commits to Florida State. Kromhoek. Oh, that's easy then. That's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Kromhoek. Okay, good stuff. Tall kid, commits to Florida State. That's all I've got. I just know he's tall. He looks tall in pictures. Y'all definitely know more than I do on this, but all I know he's close with James Coleman and our guys over there. So, yeah, Florida State gets a quarterback commit.
Yeah, Nate got the interview, so.
Yeah, Nate's got the scoopage.
You know, when we interviewed him outside of the Moore Center after the first spring practice, Dustin, it kind of seemed like, you know, he was feeling Florida State a lot.
For sure.
You know, he did mention that he was going to go check out Clemson. Went on that Clemson visit, had a good time. But, you know, it's a guy that FSU identified early. You know, it was originally Dillingham that was a part of that whole thing, but it was Norvell, Dillingham, and Coach Tokars. But Tokars did a really good job with him on the visit, you know, showing him kind of what they envision out of him and how he fits in the offense. And, you know, he really enjoyed that part of the visit. Went on that Clemson visit and kind of just mentioned that FSU kind of stayed top of mind. Really likes the coaching staff, likes the school itself, and, you know, wanted to jump on and, you know, be that bell cow of the class. And I know he backed up Holden Grenier that's going to South Carolina, so he doesn't have a ton of stats. But, you know, here's a kid that, you know, he talked about on James Coleman's podcast, you know, after, you know, he committed, how, you know, he wanted to play safety just to contribute to the team. So here's a kid that is a pure-on football player, likes contact. You know, he's not afraid to, you know, put his body on the line. And as he said in the interview, he's like, if I have to run through a 400-pound defensive tackle to get in the end zone, I'm going to do that because, you know, I'm not going to lose. You know, I like his mentality. The coaches like, you know, the way the ball jumps off his hand. You know, he's not the biggest kid yet. You know, he's probably all of 6'4". You think that, Dustin? He's at least 6'3".
Yeah, I'm pretty sure whenever we talked to him after the visit on March 5th,
he's pretty lanky.
He said he was 6'4", I think 180 or maybe 190.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got to fill out his body, but, you know, there's a lot to like about him in terms of him as a passer, you know. And he didn't get a ton of opportunity as a backup, but, you know, Florida State's seen him throw, and that they really like what he brings to the table. So you get your 2024 quarterback, and that's maybe a class that you see two guys. So I don't know if FSU is necessarily done at that position for 2024, but you get a kid who he's a football player. You know, he has that mentality of whatever it takes. So I'm really good with the take.
Yeah, I don't think FSU's.
And Norvell hasn't done a bad job at quarterback since he's been there. So, you know, he's identified guys, and, you know, you got Duffy, you got Parson. You know, Purdy's had his deal with injuries and everything. So, you know, not everyone's going to work out, but, you know, you got to like what you've seen so far.
Yeah, and I don't think FSU's done at quarterback in 24. I think that's probably a cycle where they're going to look to take to, which is why they felt comfortable taking Chrome and Hoke so early. They're going to continue to pursue those elite guys like Jaden Davis, who they had on campus back in January. But speaking about Chrome and Hoke, he's a pretty unique prospect, especially as a quarterback. A lot of guys think of quarterbacks as guys that don't want to throw their body around out there. Nate, you already mentioned a little bit of that. But, this is a guy, he got some reps as the backup at quarterback in blowout games. Most of the snaps that you see on film are rushing plays, basically. Very good athlete. And then he's taking snaps at receiver. You see him rushing off the edge. You see him at safety, like you said, Nate. He's on kickoff team. This is a guy who's contributing in all facets of the ball game, even though he's not taking snaps at quarterback. I'm sure now that he's going to be their starter, they'll probably limit his snaps on special teams and everything now. But, played behind a very good quarterback for the last 2 years. Now he's going to get his shot. And when you look at him in 7-on-7, he's just got a very fluid, very compact throwing motion. Not a lot that really needs to be cleaned up there. I think it's just going to take him getting some experience over these last 2 years. And he actually plays 7-on-7 with fellow Florida State commits, Cam Davis and Jordan Pride. So he's already got a really good relationship with those guys there. And you got to think they're just going to be sitting there developing chemistry now over the next 2 seasons, playing with each other and building those relationships. So it was a good take for Florida State. I was a little surprised. Maybe they didn't wait closer to the summer to get a chance to see him throw again. But then again, they've been evaluating him since almost a year now, since offering in June of 2021. Mm-hmm. So I guess they felt comfortable with all they saw, all they needed to see.
Yes.
Got him back on campus in March, saw him in person one last time, and that was it.
I think he's a kid that's gonna do the circuit and get a lot of recognition, get a lot of offers. I expect him to be a 4-star quarterback when it's all said and done. So Florida State jumped on it early. I know Clemson does have a lot of interest in them, but they're really kind of different how they offer kids. But they showed a lot of interest to him when he was on the visit. So he is locked in. He's fully locked in. So it'll be interesting to see what schools come after him and try to persuade him to look elsewhere. But he did mention that he'll appreciate the offers, but he's committed where he wants to be. So,
and you look at Florida State. They've done a good job of getting on these talented guys early. Cam Davis, Jordan Pride, Camden Fryer, 3 other guys in 2024 that Cam Davis already basically a 5-star, but the other 2 guys are going to be pretty highly ranked as well. So you got to think Chrome and Hoke, probably a good take, and his stock is just going to continue to build now, like we've seen with the other guys that Florida State got on early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a question. Well, I'll bring up this Cam Davis question because I know everybody's now starting to tweak
He's
out.
He's visiting Bama.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Well, we're going to get there real quick. I do want to go over Pro Day because D-Lou, you and I were both in attendance with for that with Noah and Maddox, and
great.
Yeah, nothing too crazy worth mentioning here. I think the winner of the day was Miko Dotson with, first off, starting off with the bench reps. Him hitting 25 for his size, 25 reps would have been the largest amount of reps hit at the NFL Combine this past year, not only just between a cornerback, but also a safety. A really impressive showing from him, and along with his 40.
Yeah, shout out to that Miami offensive lineman with his 9 reps.
Oh, that's sad. That is pretty sad.
I could do 9 reps.
Ooh.
I don't think you could do 3.
That's a stretch. I don't think you could.
If he knew he was getting Whataburger afterwards, then maybe. If you could tease Austin,
I just need
Whataburger meal down the field, then yeah.
Yeah, like every rep is a bite of a Whataburger.
I need like 12 days of training, and I can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Miko Dotson had a really, really impressive day, and another guy dealing with injury. A lot of these pro day guys dealing with injuries throughout their career, but most certainly Miko Dotson. I thought he, and during his career, I don't want to dive all the way into Miko Dotson's career at Florida State. But I thought out of the DBs, if he was fully healthy throughout his career at Florida State, I thought that whenever he had his shots to get into games, I thought he was one of your top corners. So wishing him all the best. I thought he had a really impressive pro day. And then, Jermaine Johnson also, I mean, he only did bench, and we knew that going into it, but hitting 27 reps there, tying Kayvon Thibodeau, who's going to most likely be one of the top defensive ends to go. 27 reps at his length size for his arms is really impressive.
It's great.
It's very impressive. Very impressive.
We didn't get to hear the measurements, so I've got no idea what his arm length is.
I kept on telling Dustin that's a lot of good reps there. Dustin's like, that is really
look
bad.
At it. Look how long
Dustin, that is really good. Dustin's like, no, that sucks.
I was like, I didn't say it sucked. I was like, I thought he would
defensive.
be able to do more. God.
Yeah, 27 reps.
I thought he would get 30. Sorry.
I thought Kier would do more than 19, honestly. I was kind of surprised.
I thought so too.
20. I thought he'd be in like
too.
the 22, 23 range because he was a strong dude.
He is huge. He is definitely huge. But yeah, Kier was performing too. We saw him talking with a lot of scouts at the end of the pro day. We saw Jermaine Johnson going and being really vocal with his teammates too, going to every drill, being very hands-on with them and showing support, which was really cool. And it just goes to show that he really does love Florida State. Like, he's going to come back. He's going to be with Mike Norvell, and that's going to be huge for, I think, recruiting later on. Mike Norvell and that connection there that they built started off with Mike Norvell blowing up his phone multiple times, and then Jermaine God, am I going to answer this fool's voicemails or what? And ends up actually answering them. And then from there, just one phone call. And JJ said, you know what? I got to go give them a visit and give them a shot. So, but yeah, Jermaine Johnson did his thing with the bench.
Granted, I wasn't there, but I think the winner of the day was Sean Corbin.
Yeah. Not too shabby. Not too bad.
It seems like, coming out of it, just a couple of reports I saw that, he's kind of locked himself into that, third, fourth, fifth round guy, which, running backs aren't first round guys much right now. So, that's the typical range now for running backs. So, good for him.
Damn, Tom coming in, D-Lou, saying maybe you could hit it 9 reps for 75 pounds, maybe.
What's that? A 10 and a 5 on each side? I could rep that for days.
Let's see it.
What?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tom wants to do the measure of the calves, too. We always got to figure out the calves because
we didn't get any measurements because they were in the far corner of the building, and we were stuck on the sideline behind makeshift fences. So,
yeah, that's good. I also want to shout out Emmett Rice, too, who didn't get to see him play last season, but I thought he, you size him next to Kalen Brooks, and you're like, yeah, there's a whole difference here of an NFL caliber size linebacker, and you've got DeKalen Brooks. And, I wish DeKalen Brooks all the best. We all do, most certainly. Wish you all the best. But Emmett Rice is a NFL caliber size linebacker. And, he had a really good ending to the season prior. And I think he's going to get an opportunity with the practice squad for Emmett Rice. Who knows? Some scout, some team might see something high in him, and I still think he has some potential. But I thought he had a really good pro day overall. Came in really good size. I thought he ran the 40 well. Didn't get an official time there. Also trying to time the 40. I thought it was going to be easy. I was like, guys, let's just all time it on our phones, and we'll just find the average medium. Not even close. Not even close. I had Nico Dotson having a 5.2, and I was like, nope, I'm done.
I just want to say that I was standing behind someone, and
done.
I saw a media member time Deshaun Corbin's 40 at 5.35.
Yeah. So
that was not the actual 40. I mean, it was very bad use of the hands. They didn't stop in time. Bad reaction time on their part.
Yeah, but you saw I'm trying to think. Corbin's whole family there. You saw both the Aguayos were in attendance.
Speaking of 5.3 40s, you see those 40s at the Florida Pro Day.
Yeah, did anybody go below a 4.8?
No.
Oh my God, Jesus!
Did you see the Miami bench press? That was the best one. They had an O line.
I got to mute you, Mike, because I got to mute you. BG.
That awesome. Where you been?
Yeah, Dotson outlifted everyone on Miami's roster combined.
Yeah. No, very, very impressive there from Dotson. But yeah, nothing too crazy out of all of those. We won't dial into every single player, but wishing them all the best. Was a pretty cool experience to get in there. And I think, I think the highlight, D'Lo, you probably agree with me. Probably the highlight player of this pro day was Joshua Burrell. I was very nervous. I thought Norvell was going to pull him because Burrell was making some crazy acrobatic catches. I thought
we should probably bring that up.
That
they brought in Josh Burrell, they brought in Malik McLean and Jordan Young to run some routes for Mackenzie Milton alongside Corbin, Andrew Parchment, and Jordan Wilson. And the guys that are still at Florida State were far more impressive than the guys that are trying to go to the NFL. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot of the scouts. Who said that they were taking pictures of Josh McLean?
I was watching. There was a scout on the sideline next to me, and I was watching him take. I don't want to do that. I'm not burning. Yeah. I'm not burning my source, but
your sword. Anyway. You have NFL scouts get.
Yeah, I got his number, bro. Yeah. We're going to Chili's, but anyway, I saw him get some pictures of Burrell and McLean.
Going to Chili's.
Tell us
you don't remember what the team was from the
Chili's has an underrated menu.
Burrell's going to be a problem, man, in the slot.
Yeah, it's a variety.
Burrell and McLean. I mean, McLean is just such an impressive athlete on his own, but Burrell, whenever battling for one-on-ones, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, you saw them. You saw the scouts kind of salivating there, looking at those guys like, dang, we came to the wrong play day. Oh, we got K-Camp in the house. Rising Spear now kicking off with him over there doing some social stuff. I'm looking forward to covering a lot of that Rising Spear. They said they got a big announcement on April 4th, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But yeah, Burrell, he's right. K-Camp's right. Burrell's definitely going to be a stud, I think, for Florida State. And we'll see how much he gets into this rotation this upcoming season. Let's move into some. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just now that he's back healthy, you're really seeing what he can do. I don't think he necessarily has that breakaway speed, but that was never what he was touted to do. He's a possession receiver. He's going to come in, make tough catches in traffic, and get yardage. And like you said, Logan, he looked really good out there on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, he's going to knock someone's dick in the dirt for real. He's going to be a dog.
Okay.
Can I? What was that again?
Knock someone's. It's an old term, dude.
Well, yeah. Say it again. I'll say it again.
Knock someone's dick in the dirt.
Oh, I didn't hear the knock. Okay, I just thought you said he's just going to put his dick in the dirt, and I was like, I don't know.
He may do that too, man. Who knows, man? 2022, man. It's getting crazier by the day.
Welcome to Hear the Spear. This is where you come for the content. Let's jump into some recruiting before we get to VZ salivating at all this basketball news that he finally gets to talk about after a tremendous basketball season we all got to be witnesses of. Recruiting, Cam Davis, should everybody flip out and be worried that he's visiting unofficially to Alabama or Georgia?
No
freaking out? What do you guys think? I don't think I'm freaking out.
Well, he's been
yeah, go ahead.
He's been committed to Florida State for over a year. Every time he comes back to Florida State, people pepper him with questions like, hey, Cam, how committed are you to Florida State? Hey, Cam, what's it going to take for you to flip your commitment or decommit? And every time he's like, nothing's really going to make me decommit. Even if Alabama offers, I'm still going to be a Seminole. Really, I think Florida State's main competition is with the MLB more so than Alabama. It's great to see him get that offer from Alabama because the kid's a true 5-star talent and he's going to be one of the best players in the 2024 class. But I said it a little bit earlier, Florida State, they've hopped on him early. They really sold him on that relationship. I mean, he has a outstanding relationship with Coach Johnson to the point where he told me in an interview before, he's like, if for some reason Coach Norvell was to leave and Coach Johnson stayed at Florida State, I think I would still probably be going there just because they're so comfortable with one another. So him going on this visit, he actually told me 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever he got the offer, he said he was probably going to go check out Alabama, but I think it's more to go have fun. And he's also having some teammates come with him that are trying to get exposure as well. And this is an opportunity for Alabama to see those guys as well. And Cam, he's going to be back at Florida State the following weekend for the spring game. That'll be his 3rd or 4th trip of the offseason already. I don't think you have a lot to worry about at this point with Cam Davis.
I think there's a
You gonna do a percent? Here we go.
99.354% chance that
He goes to Alabama.
that he signs with FSU. So I don't think there's anything, I mean, this is a once in a lifetime thing for kids. I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talked about it multiple times on the show here when he was a co-host. Talked about, I knew I was locked into Florida State. I wasn't going anywhere else, but he went to the West Coast and visited USD.
Mhm.
Got to see that. Went to multiple other SEC schools in the Southeast over here. So he wanted to have the opportunity of being able to visit. Why not? I would. Hell yeah. If I get treated like royalty, go in there and get to see Nick Saban, one of the greatest college football coaches, the greatest college football coaches of all time, being able to go see the facilities and such. That's great. But, he's a team player guy, and he's also going to bring some of his teammates there too. So, it's FSU Twitter. We're in the spring. Luckily, it's not dead heat of the off season.
Well, Travis Hunter,
they'd be freaking out.
Travis Hunter has completely given this fan base PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's understandable. Absolutely understandable. Absolutely.
I guess. It's the exception versus the rule, though. I mean, look at the way that Travis Hunter versus Cam Davis conduct themselves in interviews. Davis, to me, a guy that's mature beyond his years. He has a very calculated approach to recruiting. He's very guarded, with his thoughts and everything. And I don't know, there's just something about the kid. He kind of knows what he wants for himself. And, he wants to be a two-sport athlete at the next level. He's already said it multiple times that he wants to play football and baseball at the next level. And I'm not certain that Alabama could offer him the same opportunity on the baseball diamond that Florida State can.
It comes down to mom. I chatted with her a little bit, at that Elite Junior Day, while others were interviewing Cam. And, it comes down to where, she feels she can send her kid and he's going to be taken care of, and she's extremely bought into the Florida State staff. So
Yak, absolutely, for sure. Yak too. Father, it has that kind of, father figure type of coaching. And there's a lot of coaches that are on the staff that are like that. But that's a big emphasis for a lot of moms, for a lot of recruit moms to come here. If I'm sending my child off and to go into college for 2, 3, 4 years, I want to make sure that he's around, adults that, will take good care of him. So makes sense. I'm not worried. We won't spend too much more time on this, but we're just only adding to the steam of FSU Twitter going crazy, losing their minds.
Just to cap it off, Florida State baseball has been in consistent contact with Davis. They see him whenever he's on campus and everything, and they've already accepted his commitment. So it's pretty set in stone for him to be a dual sport athlete at Florida State right now. And same thing with another guy that's committed in his class, Camden Fryer, also going to be playing football and baseball at Florida State. And Jordan Pride is actually in the process of discussing with the baseball staff if he will be a take to be a dual sport athlete as well. So a lot of really talented guys, not just on the football field, coming in for Florida State. And that just shows the versatility of some of these athletes.
Who was the last FSU football / baseball player? Was it Jameis? And if that's true, then that's insanely shocking to me. I'm trying to think.
It just might.
It might be.
I'm trying to think. That's a shocker to me.
I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see if I can find one.
But you see Norvell's recruiting, though. I mean, the way he works things, he's getting a lot of guys that are dual sport, dual offensive, defensive type players. You look at Sam McCall, too. I mean, you had Travis Hunter, but still, he's getting guys that are talented on a whole lot of different dimensions, for sure. But, yeah, if you look that up for us there, VZ, while we jump into this next one. Desmond Ricks. Rick. Desmond Ricks. What's going on with Desmond Ricks? Because
the staff can't recruit.
Yeah. I mean,
the staff can't recruit. I think that, the staff can't recruit,
Desmond Ricks.
That's such a tired argument, man.
So the top player in the 2024 class, there is, there's stuff that Dustin put in there. Nate has some scoop too, but Dustin put in some stuff into the Discord. If you guys have not gone and looked there, then you're definitely missing out.
I've been slacking on Discord, man. My bad.
We got to get you back in there, Nate. They're missing you. They miss you just in all cases. But Desmond Ricks, number 1 rated player in the 2024 class. Might be some good things happening soon. What do you got, Dustin? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this guy is a top target for Florida State, a really big priority. Ricks and his family visited Tallahassee earlier this month on an unofficial visit. It was supposed to be a one-day visit, but they were so blown away that they decided to return for a couple hours the following day. And I've just continued to hear good things about this recruitment over the last couple of weeks. It really sounds like Florida State has not only caught Ricks's eye, but they've also satisfied what his family is looking for from a school for him to go to eventually. And I believe they're planning to come back April 8th and 9th for the spring game. And it just sounds like things are trending in a very positive direction for Florida State at this time.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a hell of a player. I think it's interesting too, not to get too much into it because, I don't have much to say about it, but there's some talk about him possibly reclassifying, which I think is interesting. So, if they could get him in 23, I know they have some traction with Cormani McLean, who is just a great defensive back, and, Tony Mitchell, they kind of lost some traction there. But to get a guy like Desmond Ricks, who's just as good as those two, and you can argue, maybe he's better than both. To get on him and, where there's smoke, there's fire. I know there's a lot of crystal balls, et cetera, that are popping up for him. So, Florida State's done a hell of a job, recruiting him and connecting with his family and showing the opportunity. That would be just a really big get for Coach Norvell. It does seem like that. The spring game weekend might be a fruitful week overall for Florida State football.
What do y'all think it is? I don't know. Like, what do y'all think it is? Norvell? Is it just the?
I think it's
I mean, 5 wins.
I think Woodson's a really good coach. I think that the school in and of itself, Florida State still is FSU. I think that there's a lot of people that are bought into Norvell and his plan. As we've talked about numerous times, and I've said on other podcasts, one thing that is always talked about with recruits when you talk to them, whether it's on the phone or whatnot, is they always mention how much of a presence Norvell is on these on-campus visits, and how much energy he brings to the table, and just the way he can pitch and the way he connects is. I don't want to say the word elite, but it's up there in terms of being very, very, very good in terms of him doing that. So, I think that that these players, FSU's got to do it on the field, but I think that the baseline is forming relationships, showing what you had to offer, and these kids are buying into what this coaching staff is doing. So,
yeah, and I've said it before, but Florida State, I mean, they really do an unbelievable job whenever they can get these guys to campus and have the opportunity for Norvell and the other coaches to sit down with them. I mean, really as good as any program in the country, I would say. Norvell and the majority of that staff are just excellent in the way they approach things and building those relationships and making kids feel comfortable with them and being real with them. So that approach doesn't go unnoticed by recruits. And we've seen it each of the last couple of off seasons. Florida State does great in the off season, but they failed to win on the field. They have this kind of success in the off season. They carry it onto the field one time, win 8 or 9 games, get to a bowl game, start to show that progress that you want to see, that Florida State's starting to get back among the elite, that's when it's going to, go all the way, because we've kind of seen it taper off a little bit once the fall gets in. We saw it this last year with some of the decommitments that came in. Early signing day did not go the way that Florida State wanted to go, and that's because of the results on the field. So
and
that was good. I like that. Good job.
And shout out to my boy Steve. He makes the same argument, Dustin, where this is going to be a smaller class for 2023. Florida State gets to that 7-8 wins, gets to a bowl game. This will probably be a top 12 class. The payoff is 2024, which is going to be probably a full class. That can be somewhere in the top 10, where you're sitting right now with some of these recruits that they're getting a lot of traction with. So, it just comes down to on the field, and that's what's left for, I think, Norvell and his staff to change up Florida State is the on-field result. And that happens, like someone put up a comment, imagine the staff recruiting when they're having success. Florida State's going to always recruit well because it's a brand. But, if they can win, we're going to see FSU, make it back to what we're used to. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, and Florida State very involved with some of the very top players in 2024. I mean, if they win some games this fall and that momentum starts to bubble up a little bit, you think to this time next spring, you're going to be sitting pretty with the 2024 class. There's already a couple guys that I've spoken to that seem to be leaning towards Florida State and could hop on board in the near future.
It's a really good sign. I honestly just need at least I need 6, 7, 8 wins would be fantastic. So then we can keep covering the team for another month. We've kind of not been able to do that for a little while now, and I would like to kind of be like a part of those other college football programs that we get to put out some pieces for you guys. Going into December of some practices, go to some more practices. It kind of sucks when the season is over. Near the latter half of November, it kind of blows.
Before we go into Austin, I just want to say again, things are falling into place in the hierarchy of sports at Florida State. So, it'll happen soon, y'all. Basketball is taking a step back. There's a lot of positive things going on at the Moore Center for FSU football. So, we'll sit here and listen to Austin preach about, FSU basketball. I think he knows deep down that, things are getting back to where they need to be.
Oh, no. It's tough. It's tough. Those are tough scenes. I want to shout out here at K-Camp now. People don't know that. Well, he just dropped a 50 bomb on us. He said, all love, fellas.
Thanks,
You're
bro.
killing it. I definitely appreciate it, K-Camp.
Thanks, K-Camp. Appreciate that.
Definitely
man.
the content. Is that what they got the money over there? Rising Spears? That's a good sign. And maybe he's showing there's a good
I'm
sign.
down to sign a deal if I get $50.
Yeah, Dustin, that's a lot of Whataburger for Dustin.
It's really not. It's like
I was about to say that's maybe 2 meals for you.
Yeah.
2.5 trips.
2.5.
Jesus.
It's like 2 meals and a late
I'm just kidding.
night snack.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, he's not kidding.
Wife's going out of town this weekend, so we'll see.
I'll take a triple large. I'll take a shake and I'll take a water chicken, and give me some whatever dessert they have.
I would be dead. A triple and a chicken sandwich and a shake.
I did eat a triple and a chicken sandwich when I was up there for the first practice, man. I thought I was going to die.
At the same time?
Yeah.
God.
I don't get up there to be a part of.
You couldn't have just went twice?
Goodness. But yeah, K-Camp, definitely appreciate the love. Looking forward to the announcement on April 4th. They got some good stuff coming over there. So looking forward to having them. Maybe we can have K-Camp on here too, maybe as a guest, and maybe give us a rundown on what all the things that they're doing at Rising Spear. I think that'd be a really good guest to have on later on after spring ends. So definitely appreciate it, K-Camp, for the 50 bomb on here. Let's jump over to some basketball to finish this thing off. Let's start off with obviously Austin Veazey, who is now named Forgetting 2021 Basketball Season Austin Veazey. He is.
It's not as funny as the first time. The
No.
first one was
This is
just
funny.
hilarious.
Dustin, of course, mutes himself, and he's laughing his ass off in the background. But I think this is a good name for you for getting 2021 basketball season, Austin VZ. Did I mess up
guess.
any wording there? I don't think so.
Not
But
that I can
VZ, I've already got comments on here. Now we've got basketball comments in here tonight, and
I had someone tweeting me. We just need a basketball only podcast. So maybe that's the move.
Oh, Nate, no, Nate wouldn't let you leave. He wants you to stay here so he can bully your basketball team. But where do you want to start? I'm letting you kind of dive into this first. I know Florida State lands Ivy League, a star out of the Ivy League.
Yeah, let's
but go and start with him.
Let's start with him, Jalen Gainey, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Ivy League at Brown University. Dude's an insane athlete. I tweeted that he gets off the floor as fast as anyone I've seen not named Zion, which of course I caught some flack for, but dude gets off the floor just fast. Despite being 6'9", he's got a crazy wingspan. His last 2 games of the season against Columbia and Yale are just crazy games. He had, I think it was 25 points, 12 boards, 8 blocks against Columbia, and 20 points and 18 boards against Yale. And Yale's a really good team, not just good for the Ivy League. That's a good team. Kid can play. Right now he has 1 year of eligibility. They're trying to get him a second just because the Ivy League didn't play basketball or didn't have any sports in the 2020-2021 season. So I think he'll get a second year, which if he does, that's a huge addition. Great player, really, really great player, especially the way Florida State wants to play basketball, where they're switching everything, getting a guy that's, 6'9", that athletic and can protect the rim as well as he does. He was top 25 in block rate last year. I think it was like 10.7%. Dude can block some shots. And it's kind of what Florida State was missing last year, especially once Malik Osborne went down. A guy that can still switch 1 through 5, but be elite rim protector. Huge addition. I mean, this guy was being pursued by every school you can think of: Duke, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Marquette, Arkansas. I forget if I already said them or not, but special player, really, really special player. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team for next year. And they're not done. I think there's going to be some more moves that come this offseason, and Logan is 0-2 on this.
Fudge balls. I cannot get this figured out, how I can get your face next to what I'm trying to show over here. Why is this the hardest thing I've ever seen? But keep going there. Please keep going. I'll figure it out in a second.
Yeah, just from what we were told, for the people that are in the Discord, we predicted that he was going to commit. I think it was either Friday night or Saturday night. Like both myself and Jacob put our predictions in. Apparently he committed to the staff on the visit, and then he originally had visits lined up to, I think it was Ole Miss and I forget the second one, maybe Marquette. I forget what the other one was, but he canceled both of them and committed to Florida State. So he obviously liked what he heard. His family stayed behind in Tallahassee while he went back home. So he got stuff figured out, and I think he's excited to be there, and they're definitely excited to have him because he's going to be a great addition.
Yeah, this is a great photo here, man. This is awesome to see.
What do you mean? He just abandoned his family in Tallahassee and dipped?
I mean,
had to go back to school, bro.
Got the job done.
Yeah, you got what you need
to
do.
Oh, yeah, I guess classes are still going on.
I will say I don't know nearly as much as Austin, but just the fact that defense and rebounding, what this kid can bring to the table is exciting.
When's the last time you saw someone have 20 rebounds or close to it, 18 rebounds?
I see it happen against Florida State pretty often.
Damn.
Kid can be really, really special, especially in this system. Which, if things go the way we think they're going, and I think FSU is going to revolutionize to full small ball. I put that in quotations just because they still have guys like John Butler and Gainey, who are still 6'10", 7 feet tall, that are just super athletic.
And the Heem.
We'll see there.
Whoa! Why are you smiling like that, VZ?
What you doing to my boy? There. Don't kill my boy.
He put on Instagram special, or what was it? Surprise announcement Friday. So we'll see what happens there.
That he's fully healthy and coming back to dunk on people next year. That's what he's going to announce.
Listen, I hope so. I just don't know why you need an announcement for it.
Nah.
We've already seen Quincy Ballard leave. We saw Ala Adine Boutia enter the transfer portal after being on campus for a total of, I think, 9 weeks, 12 weeks. He got to campus January, then all of a sudden he's in the transfer portal. I'm not exactly upset about it. The only thing to watch is he is cousins with Jeremiah Bembry. So Bembry might be upset about that. And I'm a big fan of Bembry's. That's one of my favorite players in this class. If you just turn on his tape, dude's got crazy skill set, even if he's not ranked that high. That's something to keep
more
an eye
so
on.
than Tom House.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Why do you turn off your camera, Dustin?
I don't know what to say. House hit a game winner though. Was it the state semifinals?
I mean, House is a
He's in the
shooter,
state
bro.
tournament. Yeah,
House is a
House
shooter,
can shoot,
man.
which is what they need, and he's a little bit more athletic than he's given credit for. But he's a shot maker too. We'll see how it translates to the Division I level, but he's a shot maker.
He dominated the 1A private school Ohio League.
Listen, he's still hit shots.
Hey, real quick on that. My family's originally from Ohio. They play really good basketball up there, so that's not necessarily a knock, bro.
Damn. Yeah,
I don't
Dustin.
think that's true.
And he was also playing with Gabe Cups, who's I won't say a household recruit, but
I don't know who that is.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, we got to stop. Austin's getting good news with us this week.
Tom House came up, and
that
Once
ruined
Tom
it
House
all.
came up, it was off the rails for Dustin. Like that's all. That's all he needed to hear.
Whoa, don't like that take, huh, D-Lou?
I think you should have waited.
Would you rather hear that Wyatt Wilkes is not coming back? Because I know that'll excite you.
Yeah,
That was like
Wyatt
my
Wilkes
favorite
in it.
player.
Yeah, Wilkes officially announced he won't be using his extra year of eligibility, which didn't really surprise anybody, I don't think.
It's a damn shame.
Tough. I didn't
Bread
have to get
man.
him out of bed.
Moving on.
Yeah, the only thing is we haven't heard from two people from the seniors, and that's Anthony Polite and Malik Osborne. Everybody else has at least made some kind of Instagram post saying thank you Florida State for these last few years, blah 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 blah. Those are the only two we haven't heard of so far. And with Butiev gone, with Quincy Ballard gone, with Tenori Ingam gone, and so far only Gainey in, and who knows what's going on with Naheem. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. If Naheem leaves, does that mean Malik's coming back? It really wouldn't surprise me at this point. Just get a guy that A is a veteran because no one else on this roster has been here for more than a year. And B, get a guy that can switch 1 through 5, athletic, good shot maker as he proved through the first half of last season. It's certainly something to keep an eye on. I know he's not going to make a decision until he's done rehabbing, but that's, if he's on track, it should be like 2 or 3 weeks away.
You think they go 50-50?
Right now I think it's 50-50, and that's kind of where he was when I talked to him, a month and a half ago, like after it was just announced he was out for the season.
I'm talking about Polite or Osborne. I think they.
Yeah, I would say I think Malik's 50-50. I don't see Polite coming back. Not everybody wants to spend 6 years in college, and I don't blame them.
Except Dustin.
Sometimes you don't have a choice, man.
You had a choice.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I applied for graduation, but they wouldn't let me
Just be smarter.
because I was like 12 classes behind.
Yeah, but I just don't see Polite coming back. I mean, that's a guy that's going to have a long overseas career. He's from Switzerland anyways. Just go ahead and get started making money. Go be back home. I wouldn't blame him at all for doing it. Granted, I wouldn't be surprised either way, though. And like I said, FSU needs some kind of seniority on this upcoming team because otherwise it's looking like the youngest team I've ever seen.
Can they bring these guys back, though? Because I know last year that with the extra year of COVID eligibility and everything, like the scholarships, it didn't count against the limit for Polite, Osborne, and Raekwon Evans. But this year, the rule switches back, and their scholarships do count if they come back, right?
I've heard both things. I've heard that they would count. I've heard that they would not count. Who knows? The NCAA is being the NCAA. and not being very clear on it. Because like to your point, Evans, Ingam, and
Ingam too.
I think it was just those two didn't count towards the scholarship limit. So I really don't know. I really don't know. I've looked it up. I've asked people. No one could seem to give me a direct answer, and it's annoying as all hell. I really wish the NCAA would get their head out of their ass, but it is what it is.
Quote that and put it on Twitter now. Clip it.
Go ahead. I don't care.
Easy call on NCAA. I mean, I think everybody should call on NCAA.
Yeah, I really don't care. Just get it figured out so we can, like, if Malik comes back on next year's team, it's a much better team, much deeper team, much more well-rounded team. And that's something they need. That's something they really, really need.
Him, Gainey, and Butler would be a nice front court.
It'd be a really nice front court. And, you can still have Fletcher play the 4. You have a guy like Cam Corrin coming in who's technically your highest rated recruit right now. It'd be a good front court. It's something I would be excited about if they could figure out their perimeter play, which hopefully with Julian Phillips still out there, they can improve that a lot. I know people keep on asking about it. It's one of those we're not going to find out for a little while because Phillips is a very quiet guy. As we found out from the first recruitment, he keeps things very close to the chest. He's playing in the Geico Nationals in Fort Myers this weekend. I'm expecting Florida State to at least somewhat be in attendance. It's a little bit tricky with the weekend of the Final Four because I know a lot of people don't know that even though Florida State's not in the Final Four, what a lot of teams do is they'll send their coaches to the Final Four. And it's kind of like the NFL Combine just for NCAA basketball. It's huge networking opportunities. A lot of coaches, a lot of managers, a lot of grad assistants would be there just talking, networking, going to conferences, committees, things like that. I know Hamilton's doing a Florida State. I don't know the correct word, but he's doing something Saturday night.
I was gonna say I saw him at Costco yesterday. I saw him at the checkout.
What was he buying? Buying?
He was looking for a Costco gift card. He was trying to buy a Costco
That was it?
gift card. That was it. That's all he was looking for. It was a car. He didn't have anything in his hand. If I knew what he had in his hands, I'd probably say
he didn't even get a rotisserie chicken. It's like the best deal.
What did you just call it?
Rotisserie.
Why are you asking if you got a chicken?
Rotisserie.
Rotisserie. No.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder why.
Yeah, now you can mute yourself again. No, but he was there. Didn't get to chat with him. I would have told him I know VZ. I know Austin VZ. But
at the very least, he's going to be in New Orleans this weekend.
He'd be like, who?
With a little bit of the staff and former coaches and former assistants. So,
well, I do wish him safe travels. There is he flying private?
Will you be there, Austin?
I was invited, but I can't get down there this weekend.
Wow, you got the invite.
I did get the invite.
Dustin's like, okay, nice.
I need to send a screenshot in the group chat. Prove it.
Okay, I will. I'll send you the flyer.
Can we talk Julian Phillips? Because I feel like we're just kind of like we're just teasing. Everybody wants to know about Julian
It's
Phillips.
one of those like there's nothing to talk about right now because Phillips is so quiet.
Well, all you gotta say is like 5 minutes of things, and
he played a McDonald's All-American game. Didn't talk to media outlets because he was going through some kind of illness that was non-COVID related. I think he had 20 points yesterday in the first round of the Geico Nationals. Super skilled player. It just from what it seems like, it's coming down to the same teams it was before he committed to LSU, which was Florida State, Tennessee, and USC. But until he's technically done playing high school ball, I don't think anybody's really going to hear anything definite. Like Florida State's pretty confident with where they stand, especially with an open roster spot right now. And if you could bring him into next year's team, that's a much needed depth piece that they could use. Just imagining Phillips and Cleveland on the wings is a scary sight because those are two long, athletic dudes to have to go up against every single night. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, get in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, Jacob and VZ are all dialed in on this one. Definitely Jacob. Jacob seems like he's on top of a few things. He's definitely got some whispers in there, and he's in the DMs. So if you guys aren't in the Discord yet, Don't miss
You
out on.
should see our group chat between
it's
me, Jacob, Dustin, and Logan. Logan and Dustin don't interact at all.
I've been messaging in there more recently.
It's
I
just
have
me and
not, I know
Jacob
that.
just bouncing stuff off each other.
But I read it though, and like so I can like keep up with stuff. Because if I didn't keep up with any of this, I would have.
Why am I not a part of that group chat?
Oh,
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
No,
The stuff.
no,
It's
No.
The stars are
No.
aligning.
no,
the stars are aligning.
no.
He would just talk shit about FSU basketball every day.
It's
Yeah.
not what we need.
Yeah, we can't have that
It's
energy.
not
We
what
have
we
to
need.
have positive energy now.
We need positive vibes after last season.
Well, I don't
can't
even remember
have-
it last season.
I do, sadly.
What? No, your name doesn't say it.
Just forgetting is not forgotten.
Well, we can change your name.
That hits hard, bro.
We
Still
can-
crying like a titty baby over 2021.
Titty baby.
Austin Beasley.
You're a titty baby, Austin Veazey.
I guess. All right.
Oh God, help us. Jeez, I don't know how people
Get me in
listen
that
to
group
this.
chat, man. Let's go.
No,
No way.
absolutely not.
No. You're already in too many of them anyways. I'm in a group chat with you in like 5 things. That is way max. I can't go.
Yeah,
over 5.
I'm in 2 group chats with you. That's enough.
And trust me, Nate, you're not missing out on much in the basketball one. They're doing
It's
their
literally just
basketball
me and
talk.
Jacob, just
Just-
sharing screenshots.
There's names that I have zero clue about. I have zero
I
clue.
literally sent a message in there at 2:01 p.m. I'm looking at it.
Good. You get a cookie. You get a
Did you actually
Metal.
text in the group chat? I don't feel like that's true.
Yeah, no one responded to me. You guys just bypassed me.
That's hilarious.
Okay, yeah, because
We were talking about Ike Obiagu.
Congrats.
I'm just saying. No one ever responded to me.
I mean, to be fair, we were already talking about Ike. Or no, yeah, we were talking about Ike in the Discord. Was it last night? I
In
think
the
it was- I think it was
Discord,
last
Dustin.
night.
Bro, y'all were literally texting the chat about it. I texted back like 2 minutes after someone replied. No one texted in there again until 8:24. Y'all just looked
Yeah,
at my
because I
text
had-
and
Well,
said,
put me
because
in
I had a
there, man.
conspiracy theory.
Put me in that chat, man. We'll liven it up, man. We'll get it going.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Anything else, VZ, before I take a shower?
Shout out
Yeah,
Coach
make my dinner.
Wyckoff for getting promoted to the head women's coach.
Yep. Shout out to her.
Um,
Deserves it.
Other than that, I don't think so. Although Ham did go see Coach Gates today, which he posted a picture of on
Oh.
Twitter. Which he did the same thing when Gates got hired at Cleveland State. He went up there. But
I love Coach Ham. Good family man. Goes to Costco
Good
that
man.
day and then travels up to see one of his
that's who
future.
he's getting the gift card for.
That's exactly what it is. They must have a lot of Costco's in Missouri.
also,
That's
shout out Coach Gates for
exactly
getting a bag.
You think Coach
I don't know if
Gates
y'all
gets
saw
the rotisserie chicken?
You said it better this time. Go ahead, VZ.
Coach Gates got a bag.
How
I
much?
think it was 6. What was the final details? 6 years, 18.75. I think
Damn. Okay, then.
it was something crazy.
Is it fully guaranteed?
Who cares? He was
Well, he's
he was
gotta-
making like
Pay out his contract to get it all, but
yeah. I mean,
What-
his first year at Cleveland State, he made 300,000. Now he's making 2.75 million his first year, so not bad.
Leonard
I'm also
does not-
trying to figure out Deshaun Watson's fully guaranteed $240 million.
no trade
Wow.
clause.
No
at-
trade.
for the whole time. Fully guaranteed, even if he gets suspended.
So
Well, no, the first year is only $1 million for if he gets
yeah,
suspended.
that's got to be Cleveland just giving him the money to pay off all of his civil suits.
Mhm.
And that is we've had enough of Baker Mayfield. I don't care what happens.
For real, they've
Yeah.
like truly committed.
The real breaking news here is from Patrick in the Facebook chat saying Eric Church canceled his show, Austin. Oh,
No, he
my
did.
God.
It's because he's a Carolina fan and he canceled his Saturday show to attend the Final Four.
Oh God, did you have to change your plans?
No, I'm not going to San Antonio. You think I'm going to spend my spare time in San Antonio? No.
I saw
you
his
go to
fans
three
are-
back-to-back ones.
Okay, yeah, it was Charlotte where I live and Orlando and Tampa where I have friends. Of course, I'm going to do that.
I just know it's probably a rough week for you here in those.
I just want to say,
My birthday Sunday, I'll live.
Eric he's got a lot of backlash for this decision to cancel
He
the
has.
concert.
No, he
to
absolutely
go
has.
to go to a basketball game. He's not doing his work duties, which includes strumming a guitar and talking into a mic like me to go to a basketball game. He would have got paid millions of dollars, but he's going to go to a basketball game. Austin,
Hey,
what do
man.
you think about this shocking development?
I low-key kind of respect it. Like, if Florida State was in the Final Four, I'm canceling all plans to go as well. Like, absolutely.
Well, you also, I don't think you're a singer. And
You don't have millions of fans waiting for you
Yeah.
to strum that guitar, bro.
So, I don't care.
And,
If I did,
and
I would
sing
still
shitty music.
All right, Nate.
Damn.
All right, Nate.
What's up with the bullying on VZ tonight? He doesn't deserve this. He had actual basketball news. He hasn't had any a month or two, and he's poor Austin.
Are we making tournament picks?
Do we want to make Final Four picks?
I don't even know. I
I
watched
I
one
don't know
game,
who's
and
in it.
that's terrible.
I hate to
but I
say
haven't
it,
had any
it's-
time to watch
it
it.
seems like it's, the forces are aligning themselves for Coach K.
It does seem like that, especially because one of Villanova's top players, Justin Moore, tore his
Is
Achilles.
hurt.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yikes.
Kansas, who is gonna fold at some point, just because it's Kansas, and they're playing UNC in the semifinals.
How surprised are you about Carolina's run, though?
I thought they were a little underseeded. As what were they, 8 seed, 9
Mhm.
seed? I thought they were pretty underseeded. Miami was super underseeded too at a 10 seed. Like when the bracket came out, I was like, wow, that's low. And I get the narrative has all season has been the ACC has been bad all year, which fair. The ACC was pretty bad, especially early in the year. But top teams in the conference were still pretty strong. I wasn't surprised Carolina beat Marquette. I was surprised by the score, but I wasn't surprised they won.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor was down 2 starters, so makes sense. Then from there, they've just been playing great basketball, especially Caleb Love and Brady Manick. Like those two have been playing really, really well. And when Caleb Love is being efficient and hitting his shots, like that's a tough team to play against, especially with RJ Davis rolling the way he is too. Obviously, Baycott's an absolute tank down low. I'm not terribly surprised. And they, for the most part, they closed the last 3 weeks of the season pretty strong. I think they were 8-2 the last 3 weeks, including the ACC tournament. So not that surprised.
So I'm going Nova over Kansas, UNC over Duke, UNC to win it all.
I would cry.
I don't like the outcome either, but
I'm probably taking Duke over Carolina. And I don't know who to take. If Villanova was healthy, like I'd take them to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
But with Moore down, I don't know. I really don't know. I'll probably take Villanova to beat Kansas and then Duke over Nova in the final.
Yeah, I'm going Duke over Villanova.
I'm not exactly happy about
I
it.
just think I agree with Austin. I'm surprised Kansas hasn't folded already. But
I mean, to be fair, they had to play Miami in the Elite Eight. Like what?
Yeah, and I was about to say that they've had a not necessarily a hard track to the Final Four, but I do think that if Villanova was healthy, they probably win the whole thing. 100%. But
just want to see Coach K cry.
I want to see him cry by losing. Is what I want.
That's what I mean.
Goodness.
I'll be honest. I'd be mad if Duke wins.
I will be too. Only be I would be upset if either ACC team wins, just because I live in North Carolina and I really don't want to hear about it for the next 6 months from all my customers.
No, you're gonna hear about it for forever. Duke wins.
Next 6 years, bro.
Do you want to end this off for us, Nate? William asking, Nate, are we beating Miami this year?
That's a no doubt. You bring in Mario Cristobal, who I think is overrated as a recruiter. He's a good recruiter, but he's just a shitty coach. When it comes to the game day, in game everything, I think he's just an overrated coach. They have a lot of question marks on their defensive line, and I think their whole defense is going to be taking 2 steps back from last year off a unit that wasn't great. You know, I know everyone's, you know, likes Van Dyke and everything, but you'll see what you get with that offensive line. You know, they do have good running backs, but I think good to be pushing it. You know, Jalen Knighton is feast or famine. Yeah, I mean, you know, right now, you know, 85-2, I would go 85-2. I'm just not a big I'm more worried about Billy Napier than I am about Mario Cristobal. Plus, Miami can just kick rocks because, you know, their fans are idiots. Their coaching staff sucks. Miami sucks. Their players are twat waffles, and they can't bench press more than 225 9 times.
And that's how we like to finish off the show.
So, yes.
85-2 right now.
No.
While we're heading to April,
Now, realistically, I think that, you know, this is an FSU team that matches up well with Miami. You know, where we're at now. I just don't think that, you know, Miami is going to be what people think Miami is going to be under Mario.
Really comes down to how they decide to balance out that offense because, you know, Tyler Van Dyke, honestly, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC right now, but with what Mario Cristobal did at Oregon, which was more of a run balanced approach, you know,
they're going to take him out of the offense.
Exactly. I'm wondering if Mario's going to alter his scheme a little bit to go more pass oriented, to go with his strengths, but we'll see.
Because Miami was not a good run team last year at all. For the talent they have at running back, they were not a good run team at all.
Yeah.
And
that was supposed to be a highlight of their season last year.
And so you're going to take a coach that is like 60-40, 65-35 run, and then you're going to take away maybe your best asset, like Dustin said, on offense. You know, I'm going to love seeing it because Miami can whatever. No.
Without a doubt. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke was the only guy I was scared of on that Miami team last year because he got hot last season. I mean, he went on a pretty insane streak of games where he was consistently over 300, 400 yards. And, you know, that's really what it's going to come down to. How's Miami going to balance that offense out? Is Mario Cristobal going to go away from his
difference? Same difference.
Is he going to go away from his strengths?
Manny Cristobal.
Pretty much, but we'll see what happens. You know, they've got some stuff to figure out over there. Interested to look more into Miami after the spring, see how things went for them. I'm honestly not really paying a whole bunch of attention to any school right now other than Florida State. So
I mean, I got
you're dialed in like Cam Davis. Look at that.
I got the over under for combined sacks for Verse and Peyton at 13.
13. That came along. Peyton out of nowhere coming in. Oh God. Oh man. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. A really, really long pod, but with a lot of good info in here. So if you have friends, family that are obsessed with Florida State sports or just want to get some updates every week, we do this every night on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Next week we'll be previewing a game. It will be spring game weekend. A lot of recruits in town. We'll be in attendance covering all of it for you guys, and we'll do a little spring game preview for all of you. So,
Austin, you going?
Nope.
We need recruit coverage.
Okay. So why are you telling me this?
We'll talk after.
There's basketball to cover. Sorry.
Oh man, but yeah, as always, if you guys haven't yet, I know a lot of y'all have left YouTube, but if y'all are still hanging on, the cool people still hanging on to the basketball, listen to VZ's updates, make sure you hit that like button right now before you pop off. If you just now are joining, make sure you guys go back. You can go scroll back to earlier in the show. That's a good thing about YouTube. You can always scroll back and go look what we talked about earlier in the show. But if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. If there's ever topics you guys want us to talk about too, always leave a comment and we will talk about it in next week's show. So like I said, spring game next week. We'll have a lot of recruiting to talk about too. And we'll have practices to recap. So, and we'll have a scrimmage too to recap. So another really jam-packed podcast next week.
So. And just keep your eyes on the recruiting trails this weekend. You know, something might happen.
Some developments.
Keep your eyes on the Discord too.
Mm.
Discord
So
will be
busy-
popping.
Not in the basketball chat though.
No, there'll be basketball stuff too. All right.
Come on. We share over here. We share offense.
Good Lord,
Offense.
I don't need
losing
both
it.
y'all on me.
Not me. It's
No,
Nate.
I'm saying I don't need Nate and Dustin on me. Like,
Yeah, I've been
one's enough.
I've been nice. I've been nice.
I've
been a
been
rough
nice.
episode.
I'm just trying to prepare you for what's about to come.
All you're doing is disappointing yourself. You think the stars are aligning, and when FSU football goes 5-7 again, you're gonna be like, oh man.
Austin, don't make me fight you.
God.
I like
People
you.
still watching. You can
Don't-
see his
don't
Twitter
make-
ad
don't make
right
me-
there. Go
Don't
to
make
his
me
Twitter
put Dustin over
and
you in terms of
flame
likes.
him.
Right now it's Austin, Logan, Dustin, way down at the bottom. So don't make me put you down under Dustin.
At least I made the list.
I feel like there's a ways down for that.
Ugh.
I think
Yeah,
there's
so we're
a
talking about
ways
like here,
Yeah.
and then like
Dustin's
Hell.
all
There's
the way.
Dustin who's
really.
like below the screen.
Dustin's down in hell.
Damn. I'll admit that right now. I'll say, yeah.
I've been sweating a little bit today.
God.
You sweat every day.
And why do you know that, VZ? Why do you know that?
No, the bigger question is
What
why
do you
is he
mean by
sweating?
that?
It doesn't do anything.
Oh, damn. Jeez. Golly. We're just going
He was sweating last night, with that damn Tampa Bay Bucks.
Bro, God.
God, yeah.
A lot was going on last night.
That was incredible. Of course, everything happens when I don't have my laptop on me, and I'm trying to be a nice family man and try to go babysit my brother up over there in Havana. And Bruce Arians just randomly at 9 o'clock
Well, they
wants
don't care.
to say,
Let's
"I'm
wrap it
retiring."
up. This is FSU. I'm hungry.
Brought it up, a-hole. God damn. Jeez. Golly. All right. Yeah, I do want to get out of here. I am exhausted. It's time to eat dinner. So thanks, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next week at 8:30 p.m. and see you in April. Yeah. Adios. Bye.